Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Middleware Technologies. Today we are going to see how we can set up Kerberos authentication system on Ubuntu OS. So here in this video, we are going to use the MIT based reference implementation of the Kerberos in order to set up it on the Ubuntu OS. So I'm currently having two servers. So this is uBreplica and this is uBscratch. The uBreplica is going to be the master server for the Kerberos, and uBscratch is going to be the client server which we will be using in order to connect to the Kerberos authentication system. So before going into the steps to implement this, let us try to understand what is Kerberos. So Kerberos is basically a network authentication system protocol. If we look at the client server model, the Kerberos server consists of three important components. That is, one is the authentication server, the other one is the ticket granting server, and the backend is the database which holds the principals. So principals in Kerberos sense is users or the services or the hosts that are participating in the Kerberos authentication system. So Kerberos uses encrypted tickets to prove the identity of both the users and the network servers. So as I said, the Kerberos distribution center consists of a database which holds the principals that are related to the users, the services, or the servers. So these identities are encrypted in the form of tickets, and they are provided to the client for the client to authenticate to the services which are supported by the Kerberos protocol. So these tickets are generated by the key distribution center on behalf of users who wish to authenticate to the server. So whenever a user tries to authenticate to the KDC server, the KDC server issues these tickets to the client so that the client can try to access the required services in the Kerberos networking system. So in short, we can say Kerberos is a secure, single sign-on, trusted, third-party mutual authentication service. So basically, we will get a ticket from the KDC or key distribution center, and that ticket can be utilized to authenticate with various different services which are supported with the Kerberos authentication system. So that is the single sign-on, and all this users, services, and the hosts and the related keys are encrypted using a secure encryption algorithm. That is why this Kerberos protocol is very secure from a communication perspective also. And the latest implementation of the Kerberos protocol is version 5, and the version 5 is basically an improvement of the initial draft Kerberos protocol, and then there was a version 4 protocol of the Kerberos. So this version 5 is basically a matured version of the Kerberos protocol, you can say. And you can get into the more details of Kerberos by referring to the following documentation. So let me show you. So this is the documentation that you can refer for getting into the more details of the Kerberos protocol. Now let us go into the Kerberos architecture, the Kerberos authentication architecture in the client server model. So this is the high level architecture that we will try to understand over here. So basically, you can see, this is the key distribution center or the Kerberos server, you can say, which consists of authentication server, there is a ticket granting server, and there is a database. So database in Kerberos is called RELB because That is the term we use in Kerberos in order to refer to a database which holds the user principals, the service principals, and the other host principals. So on a high level, when a client wants to access a service using the Kerberos authentication system, he needs to first authenticate with the Kerberos authentication system. So there is a authentication request sent to the authentication server, that is the first request, with the client principal name to this server, and this authentication server will ensure that this client principal is available in the realm database, and based on this it will authenticate that client and send a response. So this response is basically a ticket granting ticket, which is like a license that is provided by the key distribution center or the authentication server to the client, so that the client can use this TGT or the ticket granting ticket to further access the services in the key distribution in the Kerberos networking system. So once the client has the ticket granting ticket, it sends another request to the ticket granting server asking it requires access to a service, let's say an LDAP service or NFS service. So it is sending the ticket granting ticket which along with the service that it wants to access. So the ticket granting server is going to get those details, and based on the authenticity of the ticket granting ticket, it is going to send a response back with the service principal. In this case, the service principal response that the client receives may be an LDAP server, NFS service, or any other service which the client wants to access. So once the client gets the ticket granting service, it uses that ticket granting service in order to communicate with the respective service in the network. So that is a very high level on how the Kerberos authentication system works in the client server model. Now let us go into the procedure, like how we can implement this Kerberos authentication system on the Ubuntu OS. So as a first step, we need to ensure that the clocks are synchronized on both the machines or the systems that are involved in the networking environment. So basically, like the key distribution server or the application servers which the client wants to access, or the clients which are communicating with the kdc server or the application server, they all need to be in sync on the time. And all these servers that are involved in the authentication system, they need to have a working DNS resolution. So basically, both the forward and reverse resolution of the fully qualified domain name should be working. So that is the primary step that we need to ensure. Now let us go into our next step, that is step 2, download and extract the MIT distribution. So you can go to the MIT Kerberos distribution package site, and you can download the following package. So this package is already downloaded on my Ubuntu replica system. So let me go into my Ubuntu replica, and here I have the package already available. So you can see this is the package that I have already downloaded, and you can just extract that package using the tar utility, and once that is extracted, you can go into that folder where the content is extracted. Now let us go into our next step, step 3, that is build Kerberos package. So here, we need to install the following packages, which are basically parser generated and parser compiler packages which are required for compiling the Kerberos package. So I'm going to install these packages. They are already installed and we are good. So once the prerequisite packages are installed, we can just configure with the defaults and do a build and installation of the Kerberos package. So here, once you extract the package and go into the Kerberos folder, there is another folder called source wherein the configure script is available. So once you switch into that source folder, you can just run the configure script. So once the configure script is executed, you can just do make. So once your compilation has been successful, you can just install the package using sudo make install. So my installation of the Kerberos package is completed. Let me clear my screen and go to the documentation. So once the Kerberos package is installed, the location where the binaries will be installed is user local. So if you go into user local sbin, it contains all the utilities or programs related to the Kerberos, and similarly if you go into the bin folder in the user local, it will contain the client utilities which are the following. So this is the place where the packages, the binaries are installed, and also it creates this folder. So basically this folder is the location where the Kerberos database is located. It consists of the principals or the services that are stored, and it also consists of the database master key, which is also stored in this location. So we will get into that in the next steps. So once the package is installed, the next step, that is step 4, is to create the realm. So in Kerberos terms, realm is basically a database, so which holds the credentials for the users, for the service, or the hosts that are participating in the Kerberos authentication protocol. So in order to create a realm, we need to create the following file, that is kdc.conf file. So let me open this file here. So you can just update the following entries. This is basically the domain name of your host. So the default realm that we want to configure is the domain on which your server is present, and this subsection that is related to the realm consists of the details for that particular realm. So the details for the stack.com is basically it holds the server wherein that realm is hosted and the port on which it is going to listen. So the port 88 is the Kerberos ticketing service port, and the 749 port is the Kerberos admin service that we can use to manage the Kerberos server that is listening on 749, and the default domain for this realm is stack.com, and you can just ensure that the same domain name is present in this domain realm section, and in the login section you need to ensure that there is logging available for your KDC, the admin server, and the default location for the login is going to be the following location. So this is very basic KRB, the conf file or a configuration file that you can just prepare for your host. So once that is created, the next configuration file that we need to create is the kdc.conf file. So this is the kdc.conf file that you need to create. So this file basically consists of the details of the KDC server, like on what ports it is listening, and the realm details. So basically the database name, the keytab file. The keytab file is basically a file which contains the keys related to the principal. So in this case, the admin underscore keytab contains the admin principal and encryption key, you can say, and the ACL files holds the permissions that are granted to the principals. We can ignore the dig file, we are not using that for this demo. And the key stash file, it holds the password for the master database. So password in the sense it holds the key for the master database, that is our realm. And the kadmin port, basically the Kerberos administrative service port, listens on 749. And max life is basically the ticket which is allocated or provided to the client, what is the period for which it is valid, and until what time that ticket can be asked for renewal. So that is available with the max renewal life attribute. And this is the encryption key or the algorithm that is going to be used for the Kerberos authentication protocol. And these are the supported encryption algorithms. So DES3 and DES are the two supported protocols that we are using for this Kerberos authentication system to use. So basically it will primarily try to use the DES3. In case it is not supported by any platform, it will go for DES. So this is the basic the KDC, the conf file that you can place in the etc folder. So let me clear my screen and go to the documentation. So now we have our the configuration files ready. The next step, that is step 5, is initializing the Kerberos database. So for this, like what we are going to do is we are going to use the kdb file util in order to initialize our realm or the database. So for that we just need to go and run this command. So we are using this utility to initialize our database or realm using the create, and the -s option is basically to stash the password for the realm master key, realm database. So let us run it. So it will ask for the kdc database key. So this is the key that is going to be stored in this basically a stash file is going to be created, and that master key is going to be stored in that stash file. So let me provide the password for this. And re-enter the key for the master database, and we are done. So our database is initialized. So if you go and look for user local var krb, the location, it will now contain all this databases. So these are the databases for the realm, and these are the databases. This is the database for the kadmin. So these are the two. This is a database for the Kerberos administrative service, and this is a log file for that database. So now let us go to our next step. So we have seen like all the databases that are created once we initialized the Kerberos database. The next step now, what we need to do is we need to create an admin principal. So until now, like, we have created the database and but we do not have any administrative principal or the user that we can use to manage our Kerberos system. So here, like, what we are going to do is, as we do not have any administrative user to manage our Kerberos system right now, we are going to use this fail-safe program, which basically allows us to access the Kerberos administrative service, which is basically the Kerberos administrative daemon running in the backend. So here, like, I'm going to launch this Kerberos administrative service CLI, and here, like, what we are going to do is we are going to first list the principals. So if you do list principals, it will show all the principals that are available. So these are the principals for the administrative service that are available, and this is the principal for the ticket granting ticket. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a administrative principal. So this is the command that we are going to run, wherein we are going to create a principal with the name ubadmin/admin. So this is the principal name /instance. So basically, a person can have multiple principals. So based on what type of activity he is doing. So let's say if he is a regular user, you can just provide the principal name. But if that user needs some administrative privileges, so we can just tag with the instance/admin. And that can be anything based on what type of privileges that he needs. So we are going to create this principal and provide a password for this one. So password is basically the key. So our principal with the following name /instance@rel is created. So now we can just list principals again, and you will see the admin principal is available for us. Now it's time to go to our next step, that is step 7, to start the kdc daemon process. So for this, like, we are going to launch the Kerberos daemon, which is the following. So let me go out of my kadmin utility and clear my screen. Now here, like, this is the binary that we need to run with sudo in order to launch the Kerberos ticketing service. So now that service is up and running, so you can just verify krb. So the service is running. Okay. So now it is like the daemon, kdc daemon is up and running, and we can try to log in with the administrative principal that we just created. So for that, like, the utility or the program that we are going to use in Kerberos is knet. Okay, so this is the program that we are going to use in order to log in as this principal. So let us try to log in. So there is no need of providing the realm, because the default realm that this program uses is stack.com based on the configuration that we have done previously. So it will ask for the password for that user or the principal. You just put in that, and now the user is authenticated. So we have created the administrative principal, but we haven't provided any permissions for that principal. So basically the permissions that we want to grant to that principal is what level of access he has on the realm, basically the principles, you can say. So is that principle that we have created is granted the access to add, delete, modify the principles in the realm. So what level of access we want to view. So here, like, what we are going to do is we are going to create this ACL file. So let me cat that file for you, which I have already created. Okay, so this is not created, so let me create this file. So I just initialized it, so this file is not available. So let me create this file with the following content, wherein we are providing this principal with access to manage all the principals in the realm. And there is one more option that you can pass, that is the target principles, for which it has access to, which for which the permissions apply. So this is the optional one, but this should be sufficient for us. So now let us go into our next step, that is step 9, add kadmin entries to keytab file. So in our previous steps, like, we have used the failsafe version of the kadmin, that is kadmin.local. We are going to use that same thing right now, but in order to add the entries or the encryption keys for the principals into the keytab file. So let us launch that failsafe program. So now we can just do kt add in order to add the principals, the kadmin principal, to the keytab file. And similarly, like, we are going to add this principal as well to the kadmin keytab file. The keytab file basically is a very sensitive file that we need to protect, because it contains the encryption keys for the principals that we are managing in the RHEL database. Now let us start the kdc admin server, that is the daemon, because we already started the key distribution center server. So let me get out of this shell, and we can just see that KRB is running for us. So we have the KRB key distribution center already running. The other daemon that we need to launch is the key administrative daemon. So this is the daemon that we are going to launch, and you can just verify that kadmin is launched using the following command. So once that is, the services are up and running, we can just go and validate the Kerberos service. So this is step 11, wherein we will try to validate the Kerberos services. So here, like, let us try to log in with init and the following principal, and please note, like, we are logging in with non-sudo user. So I can provide the key, and once that is done, you can just do klist. So it is going to cache the principal details into this cache file. So it will contain the key ticket granting ticket, which is provided by the authentication server from the KDC, and this is cached into the following location. So you can see the command that we have run is non-root user. So that is why it created a file with the UID. in the temp location. So in case you run that same command using sudo and do sudo klist, it is going to create the krb 5cc file, that is cache file, with _00, that is the UID of the root. So this is the difference between running the knet without root privileges and with root privileges. So let me clear my screen. So we have run the authenticated with the principal with non-root user. So let me do klist over here. So you can see the ticket granting ticket has been assigned to that client. We can as well run the kadmin utility, but you will get to see this warning. Basically it is not able to write into this log location because that is owned by root user, but that is fine. Usually this administrative interface that we use in order to manage the Kerberos principle, it is wise enough to utilize it from the Kerberos distribution center server itself rather than remotely accessing it. But yes, we can access it from the client system also, and you can just provide the password for the principal and it will get you into the kadmin utilities. And this is the same we can use to list the principals, and we can do add principals over here also. Okay, so that is how we can use the kadmin utility. So now in the step 12, like what we are going to do is we are going to download and extract the MIT distribution package for Kerberos on the client machines. So in my case, the client that I'm going to use is ubescratch. So I'm going to go to ubescratch now. I've already downloaded this package on my machine. So and it is also extracted. So you can just go ahead and download this package and extract to the following location and go to source and do the same steps that we have carried out to build and install. So we are going to do install the dependent packages. So they are already present on my system, and you can do the configure script with the defaults. So once the configuration is done, like you can just do a make and make install using sudo. So my make is completed. I'll do make install now, and that is done, and we are returned to the installation of the Kerberos package on the client machine, that is ubescratch. Now the important thing that is step 14, we need to copy the kdc. So we need to copy the krb5.conf file. This is a file that we have created while configuring the Kerberos system, which consists of the default realm and the realm details. So what we are going to do is we are going to scp from ureplica, where it is present in the etc folder, and we can just copy it into the same location on the client server. So this I have already done it, and I can just show you that krb file which is available on my client machine now. So this is the default realm that the client uses in order to while authenticating with the Kerberos authentication protocol, and the realm is hosted on the following domain, and this is the server, and this is the administrative service port on which it is listening. Okay, so this is the file that is required on the client machine. If you want the client to connect to the Kerberos system using the Kerberos authentication protocol. So once that is covered, let us go into our next step, that is step 15, validating the Kerberos authentication from the client. So now we can just run the same command, that is kinit, in order to log in with the principal on the client machine. I'm passing the minus capital V option in order to run it in verbose mode, and we can just provide the password or the key for this principal. As you can see, the principal is authenticated to Kerberos version 5. So once that is done, like, we can just run this klist command, which is basically a Kerberized client application, which does not ask for authentication again, but it will list the principals that are available or cached on the client machine. So you can also run the kadmin utility on this client machine as well, and connect to the administrative service, and you will get the same prompt and the same error of the permission denied for the log file that you can avoid, and you can just provide the password for the administrative principal, and you are logged into the kadmin interface, and you can list the principals over here now, and you will get the same response as you have received on the server initially. Okay, so this is how, like, you can basically set up the client server architecture of the Kerberos authentication system. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you all. Thanks for watching this video, and you guys have a great day.